Alright, last night on WWE Monday Night Raw, we had the number one contenders match for, WWE SUMMERSLAM 2018. We had Roman Reigns going up against Bobby Lashley. And in that match, Roman Reigns was able to come out on top, making him the number one contender to have a match against Brock Lesnar. At Monday Night Raw, at SummerSlam for the WWE Championship. This is probably going to be the main event. As of right now, if you've seen my WWE SummerSlam 2018 card, I don't think this is the end of the story for Bobby Lashley. I listened to the Wrestling Observer this morning. I saw all the headlines coming out that Bobby Lashley not looking to have a match at SummerSlam. I think there's a lot of people out there who, like to write stories or maybe cover things that know how to get, hits on their stories that they post on the internet that, maybe sometimes they don't understand Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer does not like to come out and just flat out spoil what is going to happen. He's not just going to come out and when Brian asks, well, what's the plan for Bobby Lashley? And just say, oh, he's going to come out next week and it's going to be added to this and it's going to be a three-way. Dave never really said what the plan was for Bobby Lashley. He let Brian just spew off a lot of things like, well, what's he going to do? Is he going to have a match against Kevin Owens? Is he going to call Sami Zayn? That's kind of what they went through. Dave was never really answering the question. I don't see how you have Bobby Lashley beat Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules, turn around 2 weeks later and have a number one contenders match where Roman beats Bobby, and that's the end of the story. And Lashley doesn't come out and say, hey, we need to make this 2 out of 3. We need to make sure who the better man is. I think I can beat Brock. You've had your chance. You haven't been able to do it. And what do you know? Now we have a three-way. Especially with the fact that Brock Lesnar is going to be in attendance at Monday Night Raw next week. This is really something that they could pay off somewhere down the road, making this a really big SummerSlam. A three-way sounds like it's a big ordeal. You've got Roman beating up Brock Lesnar. You've got Bobby Lashley beating up Brock Lesnar. Then you've got, somebody getting the win, and then Braun Strowman coming out and cashing in the Money in the Bank to become the new champion. I think that's a lot of the stories that people have. As of right now, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar is... I honestly can't think of how many times we've seen this match. I know that we saw it at WrestleMania 31. I know that we saw it... at WrestleMania 34. I know that we saw it at the World's Greatest Royal Rumble. And Roman has not been able to get the win in any of those matches. I know that there was an asterisk that, Seth Rollins cashed in during 31, where Rollins ended up getting the win after making it a three-way. But let's face it, go back and watch that match. Rollins cashing in, he did Roman a favor because Brock was beating the crap out of Roman, and even though Roman kept getting up and didn't die down to Brock Lesnar, there was no way that Roman was going to win that match. Brock had him in the palm of his hands and was throwing him from corner to corner, from post to post, and it was just a matter of time before Roman was down for that 3 count. I think a three-way livens it up. I'm not the biggest Bobby Lashley fan. I'm not rooting for Bobby Lashley to get the win. I'm not upset that Bobby's not in the match. But I think that it's just going to have to be what it's going to be. Obviously, as of right now, if they do Brock versus Roman as the main event for SummerSlam in the New York market, WWE does not know their fan base. Because unless they really think that they're brainwashing people, these Brock Lesnar stories that Brock doesn't want to show up, that Brock doesn't want to lose the championship, Brock doesn't want to be in WWE anymore. Yes, Brock Lesnar is going to have a fight with Daniel Cormier somewhere down the road for UFC. This is not a new story. We've seen this play out when he had the fight against Mark Hunt at UFC 200. There's a lot of money out there for Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar's going to go out there and he's going to get that money from UFC because that's what anyone else would do. If someone offered Dolph Ziggler, $10 million to go wash cars on a Saturday at the local car wash. Dolph Ziggler's going to be down there, waxing them cars. That's just what it's going to do. When someone's offering that kind of money, you're going to go make it. I know that WWE thinks that, by putting these stories out there, wrestling fans are going to turn on Brock, thinking that Brock is putting UFC over WWE, when really Brock is just sitting home, collecting a paycheck, and doing whatever he's told to do in the first place. So that's what they're hoping, is that, people are so sick of Brock holding that championship, not defending it, that we're really going to cheer Roman when he picks him up, and goes through the 5 moves of doom with the spear and all that. We'll have to see what pays out of the pay-per-view, but I think that as of right now, Strowman is walking out the champion, and I think that just has to be that it pays out at SummerSlam.